Hi folks, testing volume. Hope the volume on this piece of crap is, this thing's a piece of shit. I'm an old Apple computer guy. This thing's a piece of junk. Throw this right in the trash. Yeah, throw it out the window. Hey, it's fixed now, motherfucker. Oh no, hi. No, I just started to make amendment number 2 to the third book in the Thrall series. There were some parts that I left out because the Thrall, I think the second book was the longest. It was about 400 pages or so. And it's really complicated. That's after the Zornians landed on Keltara. Now, see, Karn was already there because he had escaped from the rings of Arcturus. And he was in telepathic contact with Dr. Plivacera from Keltara. And Dr. Plivacera, when Karn escaped, see, Karn invented what he called these multiphasic devices. So that's how Colonel Sheila Azar and General Thrax and Karn Magelson escaped from the rings of Arcturus, because Karn developed what he called multiphasic devices. And I might have the timeline a little mixed up here because I haven't read them lately, but this is amendment number 2 to the thrall3 book. So what happens is, when the Zornians landed on Keltara, they landed on the park in the Zazar Park. Well, not right in the Zazar Park, but they parked their Zornian orbs away from there, and then they walked into the Zazar Park, and that's where they met this reporter, Shara Land, who used to work at the Civic Center. She knew General Thrax, but she didn't like General Thrax. So she retired and became a freelance reporter. And that's where the Zornians met Shara Land, in the Zazar Park, because she stopped by to interview them because they looked so odd, because they were white, they weren't blue. And so Goran came up with a plan and says, well, we're from the desert, we're albinos, But Shara takes them into her confidence, and they follow her home. Shara has 10 mansions. She's rich anyway. She's already rich, but she has 10 different mansions because she doesn't like she doesn't like Thrax, because he's a militarist. He's like Adolf Hitler, So that's why she quit. And now the Keltarians lost track of her, because she kind of went into the underground of the people fighting against General Anthar Thrax. Now they're trying to find her, but she stays hidden because she's undercover. She doesn't want to be found. But then when she runs into the Zornians, when they land on Keltara, they're oddballs. But then Gorn comes over, and he shakes the ground, because when Gorn, he's 5,000 pounds now, but he's got this left glove on his hand, because Kesh Nor, the senior elder of Zorn, gave it to him, to hide the fact that he was wearing the 2 strongest rings of all, Eric's and Gwynnon, because they glowed like sparkling diamonds in the night, and he had to put a glove on his left hand to hide the fact that he was wearing the rings, because they'd start glowing. So he had to cover that up. So he put a glove on his left hand to hide the fact that he was wearing the Eric's and Gwynnon, the 2 strongest rings of all. So Shara Land interviews. She says, well, gee whiz, kids, let's go to my mansion here. And they get together at one of her mansions, and then that's when the Zornians start telling her the story about Karn, Magelson, and so forth. And they used the ruse as, and the reason they got Cheryl Ann interested, and this was Goran's plan. He said, well, we found some artifacts. And then Cheryl Ann says, what kind of artifacts? Something about the rings. The rings? What? The rings? And that's when she gets interested, because she knows about the rings. She had met Gregorian of the Emar race. She knew something about the war that the Zornians didn't even know. And so this is how they got together, because the Zornians started telling their part of the story. And as Cheryl Ann became to know the Zornians, she started telling her part of the story, that she had actually met Gregorian Smith of the Emar race. Because Gregorian had written a science fiction novel, and it had gotten in the library, about the war between the Emar and the Keltarians. And he labeled as the author Gregorian Smith. And he actually appeared to Cheryl Ann one night and talked with Cheryl Ann. And Gregorian's like 30 feet tall, and a lion creature in a robe. He's 30 feet tall because he's the Emar race, where the 8 rings developed in the first place, the Emar race. So Cheryl Ann had actually met Gregorian. And through the story, this is an amendment to the 3rd book of the Thrall series, okay? They meet, Zom picks up, Zom, the Zornian midget, whose hair glows in the dark, you know, he's got red-orange hair. He finds this cat called a Phaelane, and this cat seems to love him, so he carries this cat around with him. It's a Phaelane cat, Shara says. So Zom picks up this little cat that carries with him all the time, a Phaelane cat. Okay, I'll try to shorten it here. Now through the battles, they break into the Civic Center, and Sheila Azar meets Kalos, and Kalos has to get the hell out of here because he couldn't hardly stand up, because it was Colonel Sheila Azar. So Kalos was able to escape. And through the novel, General Thrax is looking for these guys. He's trying to track Cheryl Ann down because Karn told him. Karn was already wearing the rings. He was already on Keltar. Karn was already there. And he was already wearing the rings again, the 6 rings of power. Because nobody could open the boxes except for Karn Magelson. General Thrax couldn't even open the boxes. And that's why he needed Karn's help. And then when Karn broke into his office, he read the books of Thrallian Scrolls, and bam! Karn was wearing the rings again, and Karn took over. So Karn's already on Keltara when the Zornians get there, but they don't know that yet. So Zom met this Phaelane cat, and he's carrying this cat around with him. And through the story, see, what they have to do is they have to disguise themselves as Keltarian military officers to infiltrate the military bases on Keltara because of General Antharr Thrax. And that's the longest book. It's about 400 pages. But anyway, so they break into these Keltarian military bases. But then, in the last part of it, Karn Magelson develops these little tiny metallic spiders, and especially one with a red dot on its back. And these spiders are smart, and they can penetrate the individual shields of the Zornians. They have individual energy shields. That when these metallic spiders come by, they can break right through the Zornians' shields and sap their power. And Karn Magelson developed these metallic spiders. And so in the 3rd book, I mean, Karn is like the devil. He arises from the ashes. Just when you think he's dead, he ain't. He rises from the fires of fucking hell. And then he turns into a 10-foot tall monster with glowing red eyes. And him and Gorn get into it again. The titanic struggle for the battle for the 8 Rings of Thrall. Cutting to a theater near you. The 8 Rings of Thrall by G.T. Mack. But I can't tell you the rest of the story. But Karn develops these metallic spiders, and they break into the Civic Center, and then they get into a fight with Karn while they're in the Civic Center. And I can't tell you the rest of it. But this is another amendment to the, this was the second amendment to the third book of the Thrall series. I thought I'd tell you a little bit more, you know. Now in the end, I'll tell you a little bit more. The flailing cat, I can't tell you that. Okay, I won't tell you that. Finally, they go to Amora Prime and meet Gregorian. And Gregorian Smith, Gregorian of the Emar race, has to help them battle Karn. Finally, they meet Gregorian. The Zornians finally meet Gregorian of the Emar race. And the Emar race has to help the Zornians to battle Karn, because he's become so powerful with the ring. Gregorian himself has to help the Zornians. That's all I can say for now. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Please buy my novels, please. My website is www.sbprac.com/GDMAC/. And I think my website is the only place you can buy it right now. And I think you have to put it on your credit card. I don't know much about it. Please buy my books, please. And God bless America. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I might put some more videos, but today I just thought I'd give you a little bit more about the book. You know. All right. God bless everybody, and thanks for watching my video. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Okay, bye-bye now.